Channel 3. I think Vermonters have shown to be quite generous in the wake of Irene, but a lot of us are having trouble quantifying from a monetary perspective what this is costing and why we need people to continue to give. Given all of that, what can we say? We've spoken a little bit about dollar amounts here. What is it going to take to get Vermont's mobile homes back up? Are Vermont relief funds paying for homes in their entirety, or is that coming from FEMA? Is it a mix? What are we looking at?
Chris? Well, I think that the reason that the long-term recovery group was established by the governor and Vermont VOAD was because it is really clear that FEMA does not meet the need and cannot meet the need. The SBA cannot meet the need that's out there. The needs will only be met, the unmet needs will only be met through a lot of giving to the local groups, to the regional groups, to Vermont Community Foundation, to the Vermont Disaster Relief Fund. We can't even begin to put a number on it, but I think informally we know we have to raise, at the Vermont Disaster Relief Fund, we have to raise $10 million just to begin to think about meeting the unmet needs of Vermonters.
$10 million for housing?
No, to meet unmet needs. It could be anything, and it will be everything. But I think the frustration that people are feeling now is they realize that FEMA is a great organization and has moved in quickly, but there's a real limit to what they can do.
So I'm going to hog the microphone for just 1 minute. The person who lived in this home behind you, they get X amount of dollars from FEMA, and then are you going to step up and pay the other half or the other third or whatever it's going to take to put a new unit on this lot?
And the answer is we don't know the answer to that. We really don't. And there's a whole sequence people have to go through, and we hope in the end that they will have had their needs met. But the odds are for many of them, they won't. And the other thing about this is not something, the Lieutenant Governor's moving incredibly fast with this mobile home project. But for the recovery, for the disaster victims and the rest of the state, we're talking about a process that could take years for them before they're back in their homes or that they have straightened out the situation. This is a real disaster.
How many of the homes had asbestos in them?
So far, 5 out of 20.
When did you discover?
Where is the asbestos? It's
In the flooring.
yeah, it's the backing on the flooring, and unfortunately, it's fine until you try and take it out, and then it becomes more airborne. Maybe I'm stepping over my bounds here.
Why can't you leave it in the mobile home and just dispose of the whole home?
Yeah, you could, but it becomes airborne as soon as you start. You can see when you start tearing the structure apart, it becomes airborne, and then it becomes a hazard for the workers on site.
Where are you literally taking each of these apart here into trash and putting them in dumpsters as opposed to trailering them?
Yes, we're doing everything on site here. That's part of how we became more cost effective. We were able to do them on site. We're separating we're recycling what we can to begin with, and then we're separating the metal from the demolition debris.
And then it goes to landfill.
It goes to landfill at that point.
But one was just trucked off, so are some of them habitable?
Some people have decided, yeah, they're not all, I think there was 100 and something homes here to begin with, and some people have chosen to either sell. Some had salvage value. Some have given them away for other purposes. And if you want to go through the work of making sure, as you can see, well, it's gone now, but there was a section in there where mold was traveling up 5-6 feet behind one of the walls that was opened up. So that's the problem. You know, if you don't open these up to begin with, mold is going to take over.
How much asbestos is in any of the other mobile homes?
Minimal, but it's still asbestos abatement is expensive. You have to get suit up, and you have to define the area and then remove it. So it's not inexpensive.
Does that possibility explain to the people who released the mobile homes to you in the first place? I mean, the potential that it would be no cost as opposed to some higher number that you don't know what it is yet?
When we first started, we had reduced the cost to $1,500, and then at that point we began to realize that to a lot of folks, 1,500 might as well be 15,000.
Right.
So that's when we brought some other partners in and decided that we would do what we feel is the right thing.
So the homes that are already gone, that you've already demolished, will they pay anything if you don't raise a dime more?
We're going to raise more.
So the goal is still people don't have to pay.
That's right.
How did you settle on 20 homes? Is 20 that were the most damaged, or people release them to
Yeah,
you?
the 20 that we've received releases on, and there may be more, but we don't know at this point.
Yeah, residents were instructed to contact CVOEO, and it happened to be that there were 20 who hadn't already dealt with it. There are certainly people who paid other contractors beforehand, and these were the 20 that were still left without some plan for removal.
How many more do you anticipate need to be removed around the state?
We think upwards to over 100, we think.
Can you repeat that question?
Overall, you mean 100?
Overall, we expect that we will be dealing with, I have the 100 unit figure in my mind that we'll have to deal with throughout the state.
So what's the average cost? Say somebody goes, what does it cost to get rid of the unit?
Well, they were quoted before $3,500 to $4,500, and that's when, because of my construction background, I thought that there must be a better way to deal with it. And you know, the economies of scale. If you can do it all, do it in place, do it on site, and do it, have a number of units that you could do it for less money, I thought, and that's what we're doing.
So I'm going to go back to money for a minute. For people who are watching or reading our stories tonight and they want to know what the Vermont Relief Fund has paid for specifically here, can we tell them X amount of dollars went towards X here? I mean, you're here soliciting donations. What's being paid for at this project?
Removal.
Yeah.
Removal of the damaged mobile homes. Depending on how much money we're able to raise, we may be able to move into other areas, and it's our hope, I think, as a group of folks working in the philanthropic world, that we'll eventually be able to talk about long-term housing solutions. That's a long ways away. We need to raise a lot of money just for removal, not to mention what the costs are going to be down the road. But all of us are certainly thinking about the sustainability of affordable housing in this state in the future.
And one of the things is that people have been giving very generally to the Vermont Disaster Relief Fund or to some of the Vermont Community Foundation funds. We have some donors both at the long-term, at the Disaster Relief Fund and at the Vermont Community Foundation, who are giving with the specific intent that it go to the removal of the mobile homes. This is an issue that has really struck home for a lot of Vermonters. The Lieutenant Governor's lead on this has made it a high-profile issue, and so we have people who are giving very specifically for this. Matter of fact, we have a foundation that gave $60,000, and Christopher has a special fund that is just for this project.
We jump started from Aubuchon's gave $25,000 to begin with, and that sort of jump started the whole contributions.
How many contractors are working on this site? Do you know?
Well, there are other contractors here doing other work on the park itself and for other homeowners. But we have a crew of excavator, a loader. We are going to be having some help with labor from which
tomorrow Youth Build we're hiring 1 or 2 people from Youth Build, and we'll have 2 ladies from Vermont Works for Women.
So are the contractors contributing some of their time as well, or are they getting a reduced rate? Or is it
the Associated General Contractors, which Richard is taking the lead on, he's donating all his time to that. And we're hiring contractors as we need them throughout the state. We'll move to other areas. We probably won't use the same ones. We'll be hiring them as well at an hourly rate. And trying to.
Do you have any time frame for when you hope to have, assuming no other major difficulties, when all of this will be done and all of mobile homes?
Throughout the state?
Yeah.
Not really. It really depends a lot on the releases. And then, as everyone is aware, winter's coming. We had our first hint of that over the weekend, and that means a lot to not only the homeowners here, but as far as from a construction or deconstruction standpoint, it slows things down a bit. So we hope to be out of this part within 2 weeks, and then we'll move somewhere else.
Which means currently that 20 of these homes will be gone.
That's right.
Out of the 7.
And then you're doing Patterson next?
We hope to do Patterson next, or Woodstock, who's ever ready.
Yeah, we've reached out to Patterson. They have a larger number of homes, and CVOEO is dealing directly with park owners and residents so that we can get the paperwork up front. We hope that the limiting factor will be physically taken away.
Do you know roughly how many mobile homes are in Patterson
13.
that would be ready to be removed?
Have you figured out the legalities of the lot rents with regard to, I've heard people talk about November 1st, which is tomorrow, that, lot rents start here. You're not going to be done. So.
Right. We've spoken with the park owner regarding lot rents, and we've worked out an agreement for those folks who have signed on and whose homes are not habitable and will be removed. Technically speaking, lot rent can be charged as soon as the infrastructure is in place that a lot can be rentable.
What's the agreement?
As long as the homes are out by November 15th, that the folks who have signed on with us will not be liable.
So only the folks who signed up with you?
That we could only work out an agreement with for those folks that have been with us. And I know that there is some concern that other contractors have been dragging their timelines, and certainly the park owners, they're hurting too. They've put an awful lot of their own money into building infrastructure and are eager to get the park back up and running as soon as possible.
Has the health department looked at any of the other mobile homes with respect to the asbestos to see what's there and what's not in terms of where it's going?
Actually, it's not the health department that does it. We have a private inspection.
Did that happen?
We're dealing with the ones that
Only the ones that we've signed on.
Okay, so nobody looked at the ones that drug around pickup trucks?
We don't know.
But the other thing, just so you know, is there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the ones that have asbestos. It's not like there's one model or a certain period or year. So all of them, I think, have to be inspected.
And again, those that are left intact,
It's absolutely intact, yeah.
You can identify it. This has now cost us $200 to see.
so we've got to move on and meet our quota for the day. Unless there's any other questions.
What's your quota for the day?
We hope to get 4 done today.
So just to clarify, there's what, 70 homes in this lot?
70 that were at the
80s are.
right.
And you're removing 20 of them
So far.
so
Yeah.
Some had already been removed.
Some are being removed. Others haven't signed up. We're hoping that others will sign up with us.
So would you like to remove them all?
I'm sorry?
Will all of them eventually be removed?
I would say they would have to be in some form. Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.